Well, good morning, citizens. Dr. Bob Flower with your Master Pattern Report for Monday, September 17th. It's good to be back in the old US of A. After our trip to Austria and Germany, very interesting. Got some very interesting information while I was there. Of course, one of my main reasons for going was I presented at a conference there, very interesting, sponsored by the both the Museum for Natural Sciences in Vienna, as well as the University of Vienna Economics Department. It was actually a group made up of those two groups. Economists and presenters from well, mostly the Far East and Europe. I was really the only presenter from the United States, and a few from Canada and South America. Otherwise, it was pretty much an Eastern situation. Let me just tell you, the Europeans and the Chinese seem to think. Well, the Chinese don't care. I mean, they're in complete control, and they're laughing at us. They are literally laughing at us. Europe is very concerned about the United States, and your Asian countries, Korea and Japan and Australia and whatnot, are equally concerned, and however, and trying to make something out of this. Russia is as many of you may know, not our friend, and hard at work trying to become a major power once again economically, and convince the rest of the world that America is falling apart and it's seen its heyday, and that it will no longer be the power that it has been, and its expansion days are over. And that's playing very well. That's playing. Obama is loved over there, as they told me, and I told them that I wasn't surprised. I mean, he's as much a socialist as almost all of they are, with the exception, perhaps, of Germany. There were some interesting conversations about things like healthcare, and I'll share one with you. One of my guides was telling me how wonderful the healthcare system is there. They have two systems. They have a private system, which you pay for, and then they have the public system, so to speak, a government system, which you don't pay for. And they say that the service is excellent. You may have to wait a little bit longer for the government service, but not if it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, they're supposedly pretty good. The doctors there in the public sector will work on a salary. They have no private practice. Doctors who do have a private practice and work off of cash or the private insurance are also obligated to spend some time working at hospitals for the public sector. So, and you know, it all sounds very good until the end part, which is, well, now what's happening is that the population is growing, the costs are growing, and we're coming to a point where either we have to cut services or increase taxes. Surprise! So, well, I asked, how long has this been going on? Oh, several years now. And where are you headed? Well, we don't know. And pray tell, why might that be? Well, we don't want to pay more taxes. We're already paying between 30 and 60%. Hello? And we certainly don't want our services cut back, especially the elder, senior citizens, later middle age types are very concerned about that as well. So my response was that it seems like the system is starting to decay, starting to weaken. And they very grudgingly admitted that yes, that's what's beginning to happen. So the wonderland that has been Europe in many parts of Europe, and doing so well for the past 10 or 12 years, is not doing so well, and long range does not look like it's going to subsist to any degree. Um, Most people agree that a 60% limit on income uh, is um, is pretty hefty, and may very well start a recession by increasing taxes even further. So voila, here we are, America, following the same path, the same road as our socialist friends over in Austria and Europe and European common market, um, proposing that we give people more. It's interesting to note that throughout history, and I've talked about this before, the few democracies that we've had, such as the Roman and the Greek, never lasted more than 245 years, somewhere around there. And the reason why they fell apart is because once the people found out that they could have whatever they want, that was the end. Because people are very poorly informed. They don't know, they don't understand long range thinking, they don't understand history, they don't understand what it takes to keep a utopia going. They are the killers of the golden egg, okay? Of the golden goose, I'm sorry, and subsequently the golden egg. We're rapidly approaching 245 years. I think we've got about 5 years to go, 6 years to go in that respect. So the demise of the United States is well on its way. Unless of course people get smart and understand what's going on here and see that there's other prospects. Okay? Enough of that. It was an interesting conference in that it was the theme was the natural sciences as a basis for sustainable living and increased quality of life. And they had all different types of people there, agriculturalists and of course economists, sociologists. For you UFO lovers, they had some UFO people there. One very interesting, relative to that, I'm going to share something with you. There was a gentleman there who was the son of one of the administrators to Werner von Braun, personal administrator. And he had some films of his mother doing interviews. And one of the things that she said was that von Braun said that do not believe, he said, do not believe this alien threat. He didn't say that there weren't aliens, but he just said don't believe this alien threat from the government. And he chuckled, and he said this to her a number of times. And that there was, very interesting comment coming, that there was no proof that these incidents of UFOs and whatnot were from alien life. Didn't say that they didn't exist, but he did say that there was something, but not from alien life, and that the government was going to use this as a ruse, which it goes hand in hand with information that I've been getting from around the world, and one of them goes with that as a matter of controlling the population and making drastic changes to controlling the economies of the world and the peoples of the world. Another, which I thought very interesting, not out of the conference, but out of another source, talking about all of this discussion about the coming of a Messiah, and that this was actually a very well thought out and planned ruse for controlling certain populations of the people, mostly the rebellious type. And I'm not going to get into that at this point in time. We can discuss that. You let me know how you, if you're interested in such a subject. I mean, I find it interesting, having my wife and I and my daughter and sister-in-law having had a UFO experience a number of years ago. But in any event, the Europeans love Americans. They admire what we've done, what we've become, but they don't think that we're going to make it. They're hoping for their sake that we do, because their economies are hurting because of America. Of course, you know, the dollar. By the way, our prediction for the dollar, it came, I think it was a day or a day and a half late, but you see it's taking quite a hit here. And of course, our gold and silver, as we said, you know, we've gotten out of just about everything except for the gold and silver, and we're going to stay in that. Just so you know, we're not leaving that. We don't think it's going to weaken here. If it does, it won't be much. And we do think that we're going to see $37 silver very soon here, and of course gold as well. This run up in the market was, remember we had told you we thought it was going to go up and then drop down, but then it didn't. It didn't make the run up. Here's the run up. Okay, so the timing seems to be a little skewed here, but we think that this will have a little bit more to go. And more news is starting to leak out about defaults and crashes. This whole derivative market is not being told. The story is not being told, and they're building the crap out of everything so that the present administration and powers to be will stay in office. Once this election is over, boy, are you going to see crap hit the fan. And I'm telling you now, get your gold, get your silver, try and get into your hard assets if you can, because the dollar isn't going to be worth crap. The only thing that could reverse that is that if Europe goes first, and it goes big. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will happen, but I don't think it's going to happen first. Okay, I think we're seeing some. Merkel is getting pounded mercilessly over there. I mean, Austria and Germany are totally behind her, as are some of the north countries. But I mean, she is getting heat like crazy, and let's just hope that she stands up. She's a real hero. She's a real hero, and the type of person that should be leading America. Very staunch, very smart woman, very practical, and of course, you know, Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and even Hungary to some degree are you know, just irate with her posture that she's not doing enough to bail him out. Okay, enough said. The markets here are still looks like a buy for the S&P. And by the way, somebody reminded me that 2 years ago I had predicted that while the economy crashed, the stock market would be okay, and I still stand by that, because I think, look, as a classic example, and we'll end with this, what they do is they change the rules midstream. Look what they did with Kraft this week. Okay, wasn't performing well enough, out of the S&P. Right. So at S&P 500, I think it was, and they do the same thing with the S&P 30. Okay, so they're running things. The government really isn't in control here. Really, they're trying to maintain a control, but it's the big money powers that are controlling things. Keep that in mind. But the banks are trying to stay afloat and keep the market afloat in any way they can. It's the derivatives. Stupid. Okay. That's enough for this week. Boy, it's great to be back. Okay, what a country. And of course, Austria is beautiful, and I like Germany, but Austria was absolutely terrific. Have a great week.